Let's go live. I mean, it's 10 o'clock Pacific. We're not going to get a whole lot of people, but I guess might as well
It's
go
okay.
live.
Go live. Let's do it.
Who cares?
It's Thursday night. Let's go live.
Maybe we'll, it's Thursday night, isn't it?
Yeah.
All
You
right,
work
five,
tomorrow? You
four,
working tomorrow?
three, two, one. All right, Aaron, we are live. About to get started.
Oh man, let's
You
do
ready
it.
to do this?
I'm ready to do it. This is way past my bedtime, just so you know.
Oh, is it
Yeah, I'm a changed man. I wake up at 5 a.m. every morning now. So
5 a.m.?
5
What are you doing
a.m.
at 5 a.m.?
5 a.m. I'm going to the gym, man. It's consistent for the last 4 months.
Gym?
I'm
Are
a
you doing
gym rat.
cardio? You lifting weights?
I do both. Yeah. So yeah, I'm in bed by 9:30 every night now. So
Wow.
except for tonight because we're podcasting tonight.
Yeah, you're not in bed by 9:30. You are 40 minutes past your bedtime,
Oh
and
no,
it's going to be another hour probably.
I might nod off. So
Before
if
you're
you
going
see
down.
if you see me nodding off, just yell into my headphones here.
Okay. Uh, Dude, good for you for getting up early in the morning to work out. Something I don't ever do.
No, well, you don't need to. You already have the perfect physique, so you're fine.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I might not weigh a ton, but boy, boy, I could use a little muscle on these bones.
We got to get you into CrossFit. I think.
Yeah, right. Yes. So we are live now on Facebook. And so hello, Facebook world.
Hey,
Hello, Mark
Facebook.
Zuckerberg.
Yes.
And let's do our intro and let's talk Oscars. Oh, I got a few hot takes about some Oscar snubs and some predictions. I also want to talk about some movies you and I both have seen recently, some movie news. This is going to be a little more of a free-flowing conversation, so let's do it. So welcome to the Brave Little Podcast. We're back with a little mini hiatus after our end of year pod, and we are here to talk all sorts of things. But I'm joined by Aaron Alvarado in Los Angeles. Aaron,
How goes it, David? This is the worst time of year for movie fans.
Oh.
End of June into February. I mean, there's nothing going on at this point except for the movie Paddington 2.
oh,
Which
it
I hear
didn't take long.
is the finest film of 2018.
It's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, certified 100%. I went and saw it. How am I not going to go see a film that's 100%?
Did you see the first Paddington?
Honestly, no.
No. Okay, so you don't need to see the first one to see the second
No,
one. That's
not really.
great.
I mean, it's a talking bear. I mean, I don't know. It's a talking bear who loves marmalade. I love when someone can come in and just conquer a genre or a type of movie and just make the best version of that. Like if you were to pitch the story of Paddington 2 to me, I would be like a talking bear in central London. No thanks. Maybe if I had kids, I would watch it with them,
Sure.
maybe. But no, it gets 100% Rotten Tomatoes because it's superbly made. And not only that, it's got all of these Wes Anderson influences. Brendan Gleeson, the father of our award namesake, Donal, who plays this prison chef in an incredible role. And Hugh Grant is in this. Not that that's really all that exciting, but still, like, I'm watching this children's movie, weirdly mesmerized at the level of artistry on display. Paddington 2 is by like far and away the best film of 2018 so far. Obviously, not a whole lot of competition. We're only 1 month in, and but it's Paddington 2's to lose.
That's pretty wild, man. I'm actually considering going to see this movie now. I mean, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, that's pretty rare.
Dude, stop yourself right there. If you're walking into the theaters to see a children's movie, please go see Coco first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Coco. That's right.
Coco it's an incredible story. It's amazing, and I'm gonna say it. As a Mexican American.
Mm-hmm.
Which I am.
Yeah, that's what you're
I
talking
just
about,
got
right?
I just got the genetics. I did the swab. It came back. I'm 78% Latino. But like there are like, I'm just obviously a white guy with I guess some Swedish or not Swedish Swiss ancestry. See, I don't even know. This was an interesting story to me. But I do think that there's probably cultural isms that you'd probably find even more significant and interesting to you. To a certain extent, obviously, you've not ever spent time in Mexico, and this is all in Mexico, so it's like not, but I still think there's cultural. Wait, have you ever been to Mexico, by the way?
No, I've never actually been.
You actually
I
never
want to
been.
go. I just don't have.
Okay.
I mean, apparently I have like extended family, like distant relatives that still live in Mexico, but I don't know them and they don't know me,
Okay.
and I don't speak Spanish. So,
Well, none of that really matters for this movie anyway. But I think that like there's probably family dynamics and other things that
yeah,
again I feel like could probably resonate with you even more so. But just bottom line, it's just a great story and it is so creative. So I'm talking Paddington too, obviously 100%. Coco was like 97 or 98 or whatever.
right.
Um,
So,
you
well,
know.
my big hang up with Coco is it's a cartoon, and
Oh,
I don't really watch cartoons.
dang.
Except for
Paddington's
like,
not.
yeah, Paddington is a real bear,
Mm,
so
mm.
that's why I'm gonna watch that. Yeah, I don't watch cartoons except for like seasons 1 through 5 of The Simpsons. Like those, that's the
Oh,
only cartoons I'll watch.
yeah. Skylar's never watched an episode of The Simpsons. Yeah, I know.
He's seen every episode of BoJack 3 times though.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. Um, yeah, it's ridiculous.
I
I
mean, you
gave him a
tried.
list.
You literally gave him a list of the best Simpsons episodes to watch, and what did
Look,
he do?
Simpsons. The show's like not good anymore, but like,
Right.
look, I mean, pound for pound, the greatest television show of all time.
Funniest
If not
writing.
in the, I mean, yeah, like in its peak, that no show was funnier, no show had more cultural impact. You had the first lady of the president of the United States commenting on it, which used to be a big deal. Of course, now we have a
Right.
president that comments on SNL and all sorts of news programs. It seems a little more commonplace now. But like Barbara Bush, she even came in and voiced herself,
Mm-hmm.
after she had initially criticized it.
Right. You had Michael Jackson as a guest
Yeah.
voice. I mean, think about
Oh yeah.
that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson was not voicing on any cartoons or
Right.
TV shows or movies or anything like that.
No.
Like it wasn't. I mean, Simpsons was such an important cultural touchdown that it's weird that I forget that like the age gap that I have with Skylar is it was weirdly right in the 3 or 4 years I have on him is the 3 or 4 years that makes the difference between someone that grew up with Simpsons and someone that didn't.
It's pretty insane, right? So I work with a few younger people at work, and I have like these references, and they don't get them. And I feel like, am I old? Am I old now?
Yeah.
Am I officially old? Like The Simpsons, I think would be like something that is universally applicable to everyone, but apparently not. So
No, it's like people know Bart Simpson, obviously Homer Simpson.
Yeah.
And people might know, but like it's they're burdened by the fact that like the writing is really bad on the show, and
Sure.
it's been bad for like
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe 10 years.
it's really
But like
it's hard to convey how huge Bart Simpson was
Oh,
for a period of time.
enormous. Like the I Carumba, the Eat My Shorts, the arcade game
Mm-hmm.
that I used to play all the time. I'd go to my local arcade, play with my brother. I mean, like even now, Universal Studios has sections. That's you've got the Moe's Bar Tavern, and you've got
That stuff's
Duff,
really cool, by the way. Going to Universal and seeing that stuff is really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But yeah,
It's really cool.
There was a period of time where The Simpsons, specifically Bart Simpson, was the biggest television star on any
sure.
network.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
And the whole like, does anyone did you know it was voiced by a woman? Like I remember hearing that for the first time as a kid. Like Bart Simpson's
Same
not a
thing.
boy's voice; it's a girl's voice. So it's just like mind blowing.
Or finding out the woman that voices Lisa is a Scientologist.
Oh, even more mind blowing.
Or is
And
that Bart?
heartbreaking.
I think Bart's voice is Scientologist.
I don't
think
know.
about it.
I don't know. I just I do miss when that show had like one of my all-time favorite episodes is the monorail episode, which was written by Conan O'Brien. I mean, that guy was on the writing staff.
Brilliant stuff.
Such a good show. It was such a good show. But anyway, that really all that was a plea to Skylar, our co-host, who's not with us right now on this broadcast or podcast, both. Yeah, if he listened, he would maybe that would have been effective.
Go watch The Simpsons, man. He's so anti-Simpsons that when you send him that text message with all the list of top Simpsons episodes to watch, he printed it out, crumbled it into a ball, and then threw it away.
Yeah. Well, and he videoed a GIF of it and sent it to us.
Right, and then for whatever reason, on the end of that, it was his daughter dancing. I don't know. His daughter's super cute, by the way.
I know, that's the thing. I can't make fun of him because
No way.
like you'll send the video and I'll be like, oh, another one of these, and I click on it, I'm like, oh, and it's like, well, in our, I speaking of this mini little tiny hiatus from the last time we recorded. I mean, it's been a few weeks, really, not really a hiatus. I went and saw a bunch of movies. You've been watching a bunch of stuff, a bunch of content. I wanted to watch the things that I figured would be nominated, and I did. I went and saw The Post, a film that I was on the record for describing as something I was wholly unexcited for. And part of that is just because, like, part of me really wants Steven Spielberg to be making great movies, and the trailers for Ready Player One leave something to be desired, to put it as kindly as possible. A book that you read, didn't you?
Audiobook. I had the audiobook.
Oh, yeah.
Entertaining.
Sure, that counts.
People talk trash about it because it's just nostalgia porn or whatever. Entertaining. No, I think it's entertaining.
It's entertaining. No, it's great. And the audiobook it's read by Will Wheaton. He does a really good job.
Right.
I also did the Audible version of it. But then I saw that first trailer and I was like, ooh. And then, of course, so Spielberg simultaneously, or I should say back to back, does Ready Player One and then made The Post. Apparently, the script for it was first written last summer. It was finished, the first I don't know if it was the draft or whatnot, but like it was completed last summer. And then Amy Pascal of Sony, former head of Sony, still works for Sony as a producer. She loved it, felt like it was timely, showed it to Spielberg, who had like no room in his schedule to make it, but loved it, wanted to get it greenlit and made within 3 months, and got Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks and everyone else, Bob Odenkirk, David Cross, an incredible list of actors and actresses. And they made it really, 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 really quickly. I will say, the trailers for this film are terrible. The movie itself, pretty good. I actually liked it.
Okay.
It wasn't going to make my top 10 of the year or anything. It would have made maybe my top 25, maybe. It's not the best film about journalism. I wouldn't put it above Spotlight, certainly. I wouldn't put it above All the President's Men.
I heard a lot of the movie is dealing with like the financial structure of the Washington Post. So why would I care about that? Like, I don't.
I would honestly, that's a C plot, if anything.
Okay,
it's a C plot.
Okay, because I heard there's quite a few like boardroom meetings, and there's a lot of discussion.
There's a couple. Okay. It's really not. I mean, it's a C plot. There's other things going on.
Okay.
Bob Odenkirk does good things in this, actually.
Well, I love Bob.
I will say, I realize Meryl Streep is probably the most celebrated actress of all time. I haven't always been the biggest Meryl Streep fan. Like, I haven't disliked her, but I generally think she's good. I also generally think she's like a tad overrated, but like generally good. But this was actually something that really was impressive. The work that she did in this film, like I think she was really, really great, actually. And so her nomination, speaking of Oscars, which we'll talk about in a sec, actually is well deserved. There's been times where she's been nominated and has not been deserved, because it's just like a standard, like, okay, Meryl Streep's in a movie, so she's going to get nominated. Just kind of become part of the expectation.
The singing one, I don't know what that movie was called, but she was like the bad singer or something.
Oh, was it
Florence something?
Oh, Florence Nightingale. Oh my goodness.
Whatever it was.
Like why do we have to do this? Like, even Meryl felt like that was too much. But this she did good.
Okay.
Anyway, The Post it's worth a catch. Don't run to the theaters in your case, but it wasn't bad. And that's what I was expecting going in.
Yeah, like my thoughts in the trailer was this looks awful. So yeah, it's good to hear that at least it's not bad. So
another film I saw that I have really deeply conflicted feelings about, that I think you should go see, is Paul Thomas Anderson's Phantom Thread. You are a big PTA guy.
I love Paul Thomas Anderson.
He's on your Mount Rushmore,
without a doubt. He's probably number one, number two. Yeah. He's number two in my Rushmore.
Tarantino.
Tarantino's 3.
Oh.
Kubrick is number 1.
Kubrick. So, oh. I meant working. Mount Rushmore of working.
Directors. Working. I was talking about all time, and in my mind, Kubrick is still working. So. Yeah. So I think he's still alive. Don't tell me that he's dead.
No, I wouldn't. No. Never,
or I'll quit the podcast. Do not say that he's dead.
No. He's making stuff. Him and Francis Ford Coppola they're making great stuff right now. We just can't see it.
Actually, Kubrick has a better career than Coppola right now. So,
Well, Phantom Thread. This is where I'm going to say I'm conflicted. It's a film that is superbly directed. The cinematography, which it sounds like Paul Thomas Anderson actually took over cinematography himself. There's some varying There's some reports that are conflicting on that, but it is excellently shot, superbly acted. Of course, Daniel Day-Lewis is, he's very, very good in this film. And it really is just masters of their craft at work. And I was utterly bored by the story of which they chose to tell. And look, a lot of people have been telling me, how much they loved it, and so I do feel like I'm an outlier here. I would never say that this movie's bad. I would never say this movie sucks or anything like that. It was like this movie that was like, wow, this is clearly a work of art, and they chose to tell this story of which I have very little interest in. What if all of these actors, actresses, directors, all these artists, what if they maybe just told a different story? Like, even with these same characters, could we do something a little bit more interesting? But yeah, man, it's just not an interesting story for me.
That's so unfortunate. I mean, you've probably seen how many Paul Thomas Anderson movies? 7, 6, at least 6 or 7 of his movies.
Yeah.
Where do you rank this one? Like, let's say you've seen 7. Where would you rank this one?
I would put it above Inherent Vice.
Oh, okay.
Just because it, like, he really does aesthetically, he captures something that's pretty. He made a film that feels like late 60s, early 70s. Like some of the transitions to the framing of the shots, it's really kind of incredible work on film, and that alone puts it above Inherent Vice.
But does it break into the Magnolia Boogie Nights?
No. In fact, I think it's second to last for me. Right? I mean, I guess I haven't seen the first film he did.
Hard Eight.
Hard Eight.
Hard Eight's really good. You should watch Hard Eight. It's excellent. It's a very good movie.
But I don't put Phantom Thread in front of.
Okay. What about Punch Drunk Love?
Boogie Nights, no. Punch Drunk Love has that Phantom Thread doesn't. Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh, that's right.
And Philip Seymour Hoffman in Punch Drunk Love he steals the show in a couple scenes. Like, it's really.
He really does.
Yeah.
He really does. I'm trying to think of where do I put Punch Drunk Love in my.
I put it after Boogie Nights. I put it after There Will Be Blood. I even put it after The Master, which is a 2/3 of a good movie.
Yeah.
It's 2/3 great movie, 1/3 bad movie. Unfortunately. And then what else am I missing from his filmography?
So Magnolia, Boogie Nights.
Oh, Magnolia, yeah. Magnolia, yeah. That's I don't put above Magnolia.
Are we we're like 20 years out from Magnolia's release, or actually it came out in 99, so almost 20 years. Have we seen a better performance from Tom Cruise since then?
So Born on the 4th of July was before that, but I still think this was probably better than Born on the 4th of July. Born on the 4th of July just required a lot more. He was in every scene.
Right.
So like in this one, he's only one of the several stories going on.
Right.
Born on the 4th of July was before, of course. Yeah. So what have we gotten since then, man?
So post 99 is like
I mean, we
Mission
got
Impossible 3, Collateral,
Last Samurai, both great performances.
Yeah.
Live
Die Repeat.
He hasn't done better than Magnolia.
I don't think he's even come close to what he did in Magnolia.
Also a performance that wouldn't fly today.
No, probably not. It's problematic.
Even though he's not, like, his behavior is meant to be reprehensible and despicable, and it's displayed as such, I actually think it crosses lines that they wouldn't actually be willing to do.
You're probably right. And you know what's funny is I don't think that I would agree with that unless I had read this article about the movie. It was a review of the 3 Billboards movie where the reviewer said Sam Rockwell's character was not needed. First of all, they didn't need a racist cop. And they took huge umbrage with the fact that he had a semi-redemption at the end. Sorry for any spoilers. But he has a semi-redemption. So, like, I read that article maybe 4 months ago, and I couldn't believe what I was reading. So I think you're right. You can't get away with a character like Tom Cruise played in Magnolia today. So.
Is it bad? Is it bad that this backlash against 3 Billboards only makes me want to root for it? Like, it was number 10 in my top 10. It's a film that I liked very much. But like the reasons why people are going after it, for why it shouldn't be considered for awards, why it's not, is like reasons like are like the implications are it's artistically limiting is what it is actually. Like what people are saying you can and can't do anymore is like, well, wait a second, like. I mean, there's an argument to be made about whether his character actually is redeemed, Sam Rockwell's character, which I would argue he's not.
I don't think he is either, but he kind of has a redemption moment.
He has a moment where he has a conscience, and I think that like that makes people mad. That a character can have a conscience, even though everything else they do is bad. Tells me that people want to live in a black and white world where we put people in they're bad or they're good. That like. That good people can't have moments of bad, or bad people can't have moments of good. Like, you know, the fact that we can't speak in degrees of things. Like Sam Rockwell's character, if he's a terrible person because he's a racist cop, if that means we can't have him do any one good thing, like then we're not telling authentic stories anymore. We're not telling
one good thing other than throwing Caleb Landry Jones outside of
our Donal winner of 2017 right out that window.
So someone brought up the point that like the violence in that movie is like pretty cartoonish, and like thinking back, it kind of is actually. And I think, I mean, I don't know if that's a problem.
Shocking, though. I mean,
it's very
hard
shocking.
Though, because there are some scenes that are violent but not cartoonish, and it's
for sure, without a doubt. But I think that there are some cartoonish, gratuitous violence scenes, and I think that it kind of does take away from the power of the movie, because personally, for me, it did, because I wasn't a huge fan of it. It was in my top 15, but not in my top 10. So I got to watch it again. Really, I think I need to watch it again.
Yeah, I think it's a film that just kind of surprised me. It just kind of like knocked me, like it shook me. Like things I was watching, I was just like, I mean, I know it's Martin McDonagh, and I should expect something kind of wild and crazy, but I didn't expect that. The rhythm and the beats of that film, I was just not totally prepared for, and in a weird way, and it felt interesting and refreshing.
Now, Martin McDonagh, he wrote and directed it. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. He's British, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you think it's
Irish?
Okay, right. He's European. Do you think that it's fair for him to make fun of Southern Americans the way that he did in this movie? Because he paints it, again, in a cartoonish light.
Well, to be clear, Midwestern, right?
Sure, exactly. You're right. You're correct. Midwestern.
Missouri.
It's in Ebbing, not Missouri. Southern. But they have Southern flair.
Is it okay for him to do it?
Is it okay?
Sure.
I mean, he's European.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, okay.
If it's no good, then the market will react. I don't know.
But you, as an American, as a Sacramentan, can you go to Ireland and make a movie about the Irish people?
Oh, no.
Okay, then.
No. Oh, no, it's a double standard,
right.
No doubt. No question about that. Imagine if I made Dunkirk.
You should have. It would have been a better movie if you made it.
No,
Tom Hardy in all 3 acts.
That's the thing, is it would have been 2 hours in the cockpit of Tom Hardy's.
In your version of Dunkirk, the guy actually gets to take a dump. So
this he does. He doesn't have to stop. He just does it at the beginning. He just keeps going. Oh man, so my version of Dunkirk would be wholly historically inaccurate, by the way. We have a question here, actually, from Nate Burrell.
What up,
asking,
Nate?
what are our thoughts on hostels? Generally, I don't like hostels. I don't like them. I think they
way
ruin
too
things.
hostile. Yeah, they're way too hostile.
Yeah,
I didn't
get them
see
out
it.
of here.
Is that a movie? Is Hostels?
I don't know. I don't know.
It is a movie with Christian Bale.
Is it?
It's Christian. Christian Bale plays like a Civil War officer, I think.
That's right. It's one of those trailers that you shared with me and said, like, why is no one talking about this movie?
Yeah, I haven't seen it. It's not playing anywhere.
I haven't seen it. Nate, neither of us have seen it. You're gonna have to tell us if it's worth seeing.
Send me a screener.
We will
Nate.
take your word for it.
Yeah.
Christian Bale does this thing sometimes where he'll go out on a limb and he'll make a movie that's like
Batman.
weird. Yeah.
You're talking about the Batman movies?
Yeah, that's right. The Batman movies. Yeah. Batman Begins or something. Yeah. We're talking about 3 Billboards. It makes me want to launch into the Oscars conversation. Now, there were some other films that we may or may not be worth talking about, which was I, Tonya, The Commuter, definitely not worth talking about. You saw I, Tonya. Let's have that. Let's table the I, Tonya conversation for when we actually discuss the supporting actress Oscar. But let's launch into the Oscars, which let's be clear up front. The Oscars do not matter.
They don't matter to me. They've never mattered.
They don't matter to me.
So
the unfortunate reality is they do matter in the sense that they actually have a monetary value. I mean, they actually increase the amount of money that winners can make in future films or negotiate or whatnot. So there's actual value in the winners. You know, I want certain people to win because I want them to be more profitable in their career, right? At the same time, most of these people that are nominated, I mean, these people are fine. I think they're doing okay.
I mean, doesn't Cuba Gooding Jr. have an Oscar? Is that correct? Or did he just get nominated for Jerry Maguire?
No, he won.
He won. So that's all you need to know. I mean, he won an Oscar. And Snow Dogs.
You know who else won an Oscar? It's the guy for The Artist, that French guy.
Oof.
How many movies have you seen of him since then?
I mean, of all the sins that Harvey Weinstein... Never mind. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. I'll just say I didn't like The Artist. I'll just say that.
Ooh. No, thanks. So I want to launch into this because the initial reaction is usually snubs who didn't get nominated, right? And what we call snubs are the people that have maybe been nominated for the Golden Globes or the Producers Guild or Directors Guild or Screen Actors Guild, all these other award shows, people that, they're, we start to expect that they're going to get nominated and they don't. And then they feel like a snub because honestly, like I can tell you right now, a snub for me is Rian Johnson not getting a Best Director nom.
Sure.
Last Jedi not getting Best Picture. Kylo Ren not getting a Best Supporting Actor. I didn't expect any of those nominations to come. So, of course, it was no surprise when they weren't nominated. So it doesn't feel like a snub. But in reality, it's a snub to me only because I think that, the performance and the work there was worthy. But let's talk about snubs in the sense of expectations and what's been in the award show. And we'll start with a question from Brent Robinson, who actually asks, was there a movie that wasn't nominated for Best Picture that you think should have? Aaron.
Good question, Brent. So Best Picture, I mean, the number one movie that sticks out to me is The Florida Project.
Yes.
I mean, this is a movie that had so much buzz leading up to any award season. Everyone was talking about The Florida Project.
Yep.
So much so that I went into it with a skeptical eye, and I said, there's no way this could live up to the hype. And then I watched the movie, and it's better than people were saying. And I loved the movie. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. And to see the Oscars nominate a movie like Darkest Hour or The Post, I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, I know you kind of like The Post, but The Florida Project is a great film, and it should have been nominated for Best Picture amongst the many other nominations that it deserved. So,
look, I mean, I'm not going to argue with you. It's, I talked about liking The Post. There's no way The Post is a film that should be nominated over The Florida Project. No way whatsoever. It's easily the biggest snub in that category. And it all the more a snub when we have 9 nominees and several very, very thin nominees in my mind. A great year of cinema, like we've been saying, but some of these nominees, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's run through the nominations. I'm pulling up the list here.
I have it here if you want.
Oh yeah, go for it.
So Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Phantom Thread, Get Out, The Post, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, and The Shape of Water, Lady Bird, and Call Me by Your Name.
So I would put Florida Project in here above Shape of Water. I would put it above The Post. I would put it above Phantom Thread. I would put it above even Get Out, which I think is totally deserving.
Call Me by Your Name. I mean, we've talked about this privately. We weren't the biggest fans of that movie. People love
Get Out?
People Call Me by Your Name.
Oh, Call Me by Your Name. I was like, no, we liked Get Out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Call Me by Your Name. Darkest Hour, I actually just saw last weekend with my parents. Hey, that was a good movie. It's a fine companion film to watch with Dunkirk even. Is it a better film than The Florida Project? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Wild. So yeah, Florida Project, I think just got released digitally. So you can find it on iTunes, I believe. I saw an ad for that from A4 A4. So yeah, I mean, go watch it because it's incredible. It's incredible filmmaking, incredible storytelling. It's one of my favorite movies of the year by far, and it should have been nominated for Best Picture.
Should have been. So this is the thing the Academy does that drives me crazy is that they just kind of like have these legacy nominees. And they do this both, especially for individuals in acting and acting categories. They'll do it in directing categories, and they'll do it in the Best Picture. And that's where these legacy nominees, like Spielberg. Look, I'm a big Spielberg fan. I've said it. His two peaks, the one in the across the 70s and 80s, and then in the 90s again. He produced some of my favorite films of all time. It's awesome. But we don't need to be nominating his films that aren't actually part of the Best Picture conversation. The Post was a good movie. It's worth seeing. It wasn't in the top 10 films of all of the year. Why are Academy members choosing to do that over something that's really something that has much more artistic merit, like the Florida Project? Like, that's what blows my mind. And they do that in the Best Picture, and they do that in these acting categories. And there's a couple we're gonna talk about coming up in just a second. But on the Best Picture front, who is your pick?
Out of the ones that have been nominated, I'm gonna go Lady Bird. That's the best movie that I saw out of that list. I love Dunkirk, but I think Lady Bird is probably the more enjoyable film for me. So
yeah. So of course I mean, anyone who listened to our top 10 of the year pod knows that Lady Bird was my number one. It's definitely what I want to win. What do I think will win right now? It feels like Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. And shockingly, by the way, Shape of the Water with like 13 nominations.
I think Shape of the Water or The Shape of Water is the favorite, I believe, on the
is it?
In the sports books that are allowing you to
bet. Okay, because I was looking up some of the odds makers and it looked like some of them had Three Billboards, some of them had Shape of Water.
Yeah, I think it's moving all around. So
yeah, I don't get the buzz for Shape of Water either. Nate was just commenting, here on our video about that.
Have you seen
Aaron,
it? I haven't seen it.
I actually tried to watch it. I tried to watch it.
Wait, has Nate seen it? Nate, have you seen it?
Nate, have you seen Shape of Water? If you gotta let us know if you've seen it
immediately, or else we're going away from Nate.
What would you rate it on Rotten Tomatoes on a 1 to 100 scale? I want to know what you thought. But Shape of Water, Aaron, is this going to be one of those films that we get every year that like shockingly gets like 9 or 10 or 11 nominations and 0 awards? I feel like that's Shape of Water.
It certainly seems that way.
I feel like it comes out with a shocking number of total, but I don't think Guillermo del Toro is winning for director. I don't think it's going to win for picture. It would shock me if it won for picture.
It would totally shock me. So I will say the one friend that I know that actually watched the movie, he loved it. He's a huge Guillermo del Toro fan though. So he said it's a very weird movie, but he said it was very enjoyable. So
yeah, your friend's also like super into bestiality and stuff, but that's
exactly. I thought you were gonna say, is this the one movie that has bestiality that gets nominated for Best Picture every year? And I hope so.
Yeah. It's a whole other category, really. Nate gave it a 10 out of 100 and said he almost walked out. By the way, I'm glad he didn't walk out though. He stuck around.
He commits.
10 out of that's a 10%. That's like Boss Baby. By the way. That's like
if we're gonna it's 1 out of 10. I mean, he could say 10 out of 100, but it's 1 out of 10. So.
Well, I mean, for him, there was 10. I don't know. Maybe those were some of those scenes we were talking about. Maybe that's the 10. Okay. So we both want Lady Bird, but we both don't think Lady Bird will win.
Yeah, right? No. So I have this weird feeling that actually Call Me by Your Name might sneak in.
There was
in the
a time
back
when
door,
it had momentum, but it lost its steam when it hasn't been winning in these these leading up awards. That's why it's not.
This is true.
It could though.
Yeah.
Before we get into some of these acting categories to talk, question from Brent Robinson. Did you guys see Lost City of Z? I actually did not, but Aaron, you did.
I did see it, and I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was a really interesting adventure movie. Pretty old school, actually, in the style and the way that it was made. I recommend it to anybody that has. I think it's on Prime right now, Amazon Prime. Check it out. It's really enjoyable. Charlie Hunnam is his best role since Sons of Anarchy, which isn't saying much.
I think I say best Pacific Rim, but
this is way better than Pacific Rim. That's why I didn't bring him back for the sequel. But no, Lost City of Z is really fun, really good movie.
All right, so moving into actor in a leading role. Question for you: Why did Denzel get nominated for a movie that wasn't good? Denzel's a national treasure.
He is.
Everyone loves Denzel. He's won 2 Oscars and deservedly so for Glory and Training Day.
If there's one actor that I can forgive for getting nominated for a movie that he doesn't deserve to be nominated for, it's Denzel.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, really.
I mean, if they're gonna give one guy, give it to Denzel. I mean, he deserves it. So
There really are very few actors or actresses that can actually transcend the badness of their own film with like a virtuoso performance that's awards worthy, right? Because this is a movie that I did not see it. It is rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, this was also written and directed by the guy who did Nightcrawler, and it was actually something I was excited about. But then, like all these bad reviews, really kind of surprised me. I'll still see it. It just
Same.
kept me from going to see it in theaters.
Yeah.
I'm sure when it drops on HBO or something, I'll watch it. But like to your point, Denzel is probably the type of guy that can rise above the material. And again, I haven't seen it, so I can't speak to it.
Yeah.
But it's just shocking to see him. It does feel a little bit like a legacy nom. And how does it feel to be Denzel going to these things, knowing for a fact you're not going to take home this statue?
You know what? Looking at the list of other actors, he might just grab this one.
No. I mean, he was upset about not grabbing it last year.
He was livid.
He did not even try and hide.
No. And I appreciate Denzel for that. So if we're talking about Mount Rushmore of directors, let's talk about actors. Denzel's on my Mount Rushmore by far. He's one of my favorite actors. He's so great. He's great in everything.
Yes, and consistently so.
Yeah.
I mean, can you think of one Denzel performance you didn't like?
Fences.
Because I can't.
The one he got nominated for last year, Fences. So,
dude, but his performance was actually good.
I didn't see it.
The movie wasn't a movie; it was a play
on
screen. But it was, So who is your pick in here? Because we've got a Timothée Chalamet, okay, the nominees for Call Me by Your Name. Look, he was better in Lady Bird. I mean, that's a supporting actor role. He obviously didn't get nominated for it. We have Daniel Day-Lewis in Phantom Thread. Of course, you haven't seen that yet. We have Daniel Kaluuya from Get Out. We have Gary Oldman in Darkest Hour, which I just saw. And then, of course, Sir Denzel.
So if I'm just going to throw a dart here, I'm going to say they're going to give it the Timothy kid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think there's some buzz around him. And I think that he was, you said he's better in Lady Bird, but I think he was actually better in Call Me by Your Name. But I thought
he had 7 minutes of screen time in Lady Bird.
I thought he did a really good job in Call Me by Your Name. So yeah, I would say give it to that kid.
I think he's so that's who you want or who you think they'll pick.
I want Denzel to win everything. So
okay.
But I think they're going to give it to this Timothy.
I'm not gonna lie. I would love to see Daniel Kaluuya walk up and get this trophy.
Sure,
I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he gave a very good performance. I mean, I don't know if it's like the most like. I think it was really, really good for what was needed in the movie. I'm a little bit surprised he got nominated, but it'd be cool to see him win for it. Like, part of me would not be surprised if Daniel Day-Lewis gets it. He's very good. He's also Daniel Day-Lewis. There's a legacy nom component there, even though it could be still merited. I think this is going to Gary Oldman now.
Okay.
I think they're giving him. I think this is the career Oscar for Gary Oldman. Wearing the fat suit prosthetics for Winston Churchill day after day gets you statues.
So I think that's actually a knock against him because he doesn't fully commit. Why wouldn't he just gain the weight? Like
that's the thing.
Like
I 100% agree. The thing is, he would have to gain an enormous amount of neck. His neck is huge in this film.
Christian Bale is Dick Cheney. Come on, he gained the weight.
Yeah, that's true.
He gained the weight.
Yeah, that's true.
He fully
if you can go as far, Christian Bale will have surgical procedures to make it work. So I think they're going to give it to Gary Oldman. Okay. I would like to see Daniel get it. I wouldn't be mad at Daniel Kaluuya to get it. I wouldn't be mad if Daniel Day-Lewis or Denzel gets it. It's kind of an interesting category. So best actor in a supporting role, you and I are fairly unanimous in who we think should get this. And the nominees are Willem Dafoe in The Florida Project, 2 people from 3 Billboards, Woody Harrelson and Sam Rockwell. We've got Richard Jenkins from The Shape of Water, and shockingly Christopher Plummer for All the Money in the World.
Incredible.
Which, quick note on that, I know this feels like a token kind of nod to Christopher Plummer because he replaced Kevin Spacey in the middle of this enormous reckoning and this movement in Hollywood. I will tell you right now, Christopher Plummer deserves every ounce of this nomination because he actually delivered an outstanding performance. He's the best actor in that film by a mile. I mean, he's Christopher Plummer. He's already won an Oscar.
Whoa. You're telling me he's better than Mark Wahlberg?
Believe it or not. But that greedy Mark Wahlberg. Christopher Plummer, he actually deserves this. Deserves getting nominated. I don't think he deserves to win. He deserves to get nominated. But the winner, who do you think?
Man, I hope, again, like you said, we hope Willem Dafoe wins. But yes. For whatever reason, I feel like this is Sam Rockwell's time. I mean, obviously he won the Golden Globe, so I think this is his time. Do we really think that Woody Harrelson deserves to be nominated for this?
No, and in fact, I looked on the no. He was fine in the film, but you know what? He was Woody Harrelson.
Mm-hmm. And he had 4 scenes?
Yeah.
So yeah,
maybe I don't know. Spoiler alert, but yeah,
exactly.
Willem Dafoe absolutely deserves every ounce of this. It's not even just a career thing. Now the thing is though, I will tell you, I'm not going to be mad if Sam Rockwell gets up there.
Sure.
I love Sam Rockwell, one of my favorite actors.
As do I.
But if Sam wins this, which he's been winning, he won the Golden Globes, a lot of these other awards. If he wins, in my mind, I see a man walking up and accepting a statue for Moon and for Matchstick Men and for these films that I actually really enjoy him in. And so there's this weird this career component where I love the idea of living in a world with Sam Rockwell has an Oscar. But if we're just talking about these films, for me, it's Willem Dafoe #1, Sam Rockwell #2.
Same. I'm on that same exact boat. I will say I do have a quick Sam Rockwell anecdote. I was eating.
Yes, you do.
I was eating Chinese food in Studio City recently. Actually, this is a couple years ago. And as I'm walking to my table, I just glance by and see this weird loner-looking guy eating Chinese food by himself. And it isn't until he asks the waiter for his check that my ears perk up and I say, "Is that Sam Rockwell?" Distinct voice. It is so obviously him once he speaks up. Like I looked up from when I was eating, like, oh wow, that's Sam Rockwell. So yeah, you could not tell himself. Just by himself, hat down, sunglasses on, beard, like full scruffy beard. Yeah, he looked disheveled.
That it's interesting. It reminds me of Bill Simmons of the Ringer fame.
Yeah.
He said on his podcast recently, he loves when the actors come in with no entourage or anyone, right? Like it's rare for that to happen. Usually they have their publicist or someone or an assistant, something or even more. But he had J.K. Simmons on recently, and he just J.K. Simmons just pulls up in his car and gets out and goes and does it. Sam Rockwell strikes me as that type of actor.
Oh
right?
Yeah.
Like if he's going to a podcast, he doesn't need his publicist. He's famous enough to warrant that stuff.
Oh yeah.
But
by the way, one last bit on the Sam Rockwell meeting or seeing him in person. He left on a bike. So he just
he did not. He absolutely riding a bicycle.
He left on a bicycle.
No car. Not even a driver. Not even his own car. He's cycling.
And it was an old bike. It was not a brand new bike. This was...
I love everything. Everything you're telling me is making me love Sam Rockwell even more. By the way, he was riding that bike to go do a podcast somewhere.
Oh, I hope so. I would listen to a Sam Rockwell podcast every single day.
Oh, man. So if Willem Dafoe and Sam Rockwell don't get this statue and they give it to Richard Jenkins, I'm actually going to be legitimately upset. Yeah, I'm going to be upset. Both those guys deserve Oscars. Hopefully it's Willem. I'll accept Sam. So that's actor in a supporting role. Let's go to actress in a leading role. This is an interesting category. We have Sally Hawkins in The Shape of Water, Frances McDormand in 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. We have Margot Robbie in I, Tonya, Saoirse Ronan in Lady Bird, and Meryl Streep in The Post. I've already talked about, thinking Meryl Streep did an excellent job. For me, this award should go to Saoirse Ronan, and it shouldn't be close. Will she win? No. They're going to give this to Frances McDormand. Is that your bet?
I'm exactly behind your opinions there. Saoirse Ronan was incredible. She deserves the Oscar. She will not win it. And it's going to go to Frances, she was great in her part. She played a great role, but it's one note, but yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it just wasn't.
It was good.
It wasn't. First of all, it wasn't her best performance.
No.
Second of all, it wasn't better than Saoirse Ronan's. So,
no,
but
it wasn't.
She's still going to win though. So,
did she win for Fargo? Remind me.
She won for Fargo, and she deserved it. That was her best performance ever. She was incredible.
That's the thing that is her best performance. Yes. Excellent performance by her, and she should have won. She deserved it. So there's no career component here in play. Saoirse's been nominated for a few times now, and she's only 23 or something. And like, it's pretty incredible how many nominations, how young she is. I just wish she would win. You know, she got a dialect coach to get the Sacramento accent down.
Oh yeah.
She was speaking of Bill Simmons. She was on the Bill Simmons podcast with Greta Gerwig, and she noticed Greta says certain words. I think it was like perfect.
Oh, that's funny.
There's certain words that like she says doesn't sound like the way people say it in LA or New York.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I mean, like Sacramento, it's really Northern California,
Mm-hmm.
this distinctive language beyond words, just words like hella. But it was hearing Saoirse talk about all the different words and phrases that are unique to Sacramento. People, look, I'm from Sacramento, born and raised. I don't have a distinctive accent like a New Yorker or Boston or Southern, but there are subtleties and nuances to the way certain words are said. And the fact that she got a dialect coach to nail the Sacramento voice, which I absolutely recognize watching the film, it was like, she's speaking like she's from Sacramento and she's from Ireland. Like, this is incredible.
You know, it's amazing that you just said that. Just a light bulb went off in my head. First 2 years that I lived in Sacramento, I mean, I'm from LA, lived in Sacramento, I couldn't understand a word you guys were saying. I didn't even know it was English. I didn't know what you guys were saying for the first 2 years. So that makes perfect sense.
It's like a whole nother language up here. It's almost, it's very musical. It's like song. It's very rhythmic.
Not even close to English. It's amazing.
But like, Sacramento is not a place people think of as a place with an accent. Saoirse went, so with a great length to get this performance down. I don't know. She deserves the Oscar and she won't get it.
I think she does, and it's gonna be kind of be sad. So
yeah,
but she's you said, she's only 23. She's got a long career ahead of her. Hopefully,
she's got a line. She's more nominations to come, and that's why she won't win this time. Is because she's gonna win eventually. Now, actress in supporting role, one of the categories I feel most strongly about. Like, very strongly, and it's really a two-person race at this point. But the nominees are Mary J. Blige in Mudbound, which actually she's really good in Mudbound, a movie that I didn't care for as much as a lot of people did. It was okay. She was really good. Allison Janney in I, Tonya, who is one of the two I was referring to in the two-person race. We have Leslie Manville in Phantom Thread, who she was excellent in that film. Laurie Metcalf in Lady Bird, the second person in this two-person race, and then Octavia Spencer, The Shape of Water. Again, can't speak to it because I didn't see the whole thing, but I repeatedly hear from people over and over about how underwritten that part is, and it's like the shocking nomination of like, what, Octavia, like, people felt bad because Octavia should have had more to work with in that character because she's a terrific actress. She's won an Academy Award, but for get nominated, people seem to be pretty baffled by that. But Allison Janney in I, Tonya, Laurie Metcalf and Lady Bird. These two performances are on such different spectrums of the acting spectrum. Now, I was going to say we were going to talk I, Tonya. We both saw it. What did you think of the movie, and what did you think of Allison Janney's performance?
I didn't think much of the movie, to be quite honest. It's just...
I'm a Kerrigan fan. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. No, I just really dislike white trash. So the movie is like, it's semi-entertaining. The characters involved are pretty out of this world. But it's just, I felt like it was grating, and I wasn't a huge fan of it. And I personally didn't care for Allison Janney's performance. But
do you like Allison Janney?
She's great. I think she's a really fine actress. But I mean, she, like I told you earlier, she plays basically a cartoon character in this movie.
She does.
One note. It's not even one note. It's like half a note, and it's really hard to watch, and it's kind of boring, to be quite honest. Every time
it is like the film itself. I found I definitely got some entertainment value out of it. No doubt about that. It was disposable.
Yeah.
Pretty forgettable. Margot Robbie's interesting. It's not a film that should be getting nominated for major awards. Really shouldn't be. Allison Janney, I think, is such a good actress, and I want her to get an Oscar. And there's a lot of things that she does that I'm a huge fan of. I think she's excellent. But this is so over the top, and to your point, just so grating. Like, an hour into the film, I started to wince when I'd see her come on screen, not because her character was doing things that I felt like wincing at, but just because I just knew that there was only one thing coming, and that's, it was just over and over and over, and it was exhausting. Laurie Metcalf in Lady Bird, it is so on the opposite end of this, in the sense of it is not showy. at all. And Allison Janney is like, I mean, she's smoking her cigarette quietly on the ice. You know, I like all these. You
What?
know, now the dialogue's not her fault, but
No, but like if we could just talk about one scene in the movie of I, Tonya where we find out that she pays a heckler
yeah,
to heckle her daughter, and I just expected like her when she pays the guy, like I expected her to twirl a mustache, and it's
oh
just
sure,
like I was like, come on, I understand that you're trying to make her the
twirl the oxygen on the.
she did have an oxygen
Yeah,
tank, but it was just embarrassing. Like she was such a cartoon villain. It was really really bad. Poor
yeah,
writing. Not her fault though. It's just like that's what the role called for, I guess. But yeah,
yeah.
not worthy of an Oscar nomination in my
And
eyes.
Laurie Metcalf,
Oof, amazing.
there's subtlety in her performance that is so incredible for someone that has very little screen acting time. She's a stage actress, known for being a part of the Steppenwolf Company in Chicago, and is a storied, theater actress. And she was obviously in television with
Mm-hmm.
Roseanne. She's been in very few movies, really only a handful, and it'd been over a decade since she'd been in a film. When she agreed to take on the Lady Bird part, it'd been over a decade since her last film. But she does these like her playing the role of the like kind of overbearing mother, but still clearly loves her daughter and her family, says things that, like to her daughter that she shouldn't say, but you still are kind of rooting for her. And it culminates in this end scene where she refuses to walk her daughter, you know, in the airport, walk her up to the gate. And because she's upset and they're kind of having this fight. And she pulls away, she drops off her husband and Ladybird, she pulls away, and there's this single kind of shot on this dash cam, and I love how Greta did this, where you see the range of emotions that Laurie Metcalf is expressing as she drives around the loop to come back around to pick up her husband, and it is like a master class acting showcase. It is like what's on display in that scene is so powerful and done so well and not over the top that's I mean that's the Oscar real moment. I mean like uh it is so good, and she really, really nails it. There's just little things she does throughout the film that she gets that mom. And I hear so often people that relate to that, mothers that have had teenage daughters, like relate to that character and the way that Laurie Metcalf portrays it. She should win this Oscar.
She deserves it. If she doesn't win it, it's going to be a travesty. So
Yeah.
give it to Lori.
So I want to talk quickly on the directing and screenplays, and then that'll be it. I will make a quick note though on the animated feature film. It of course will be Coco, but a shout out to a coworker of mine who's a fellow movie buff cinephile. Her name is Shannon. She is a content writer at Lucid, excellent writer. She's a volunteer at Sundance, which she's been doing for years. She just got finished doing it, and she had posted her favorite movies and experiences. She's listened to some of our episodes on the pod, which I'm grateful for. But I have mad respect for Shannon. Every year, she makes it a point to see every film that's nominated for an Oscar. So the nominations come out, and before the actual ceremony, that short window of time, month and a half, 2 months, whatever it is, she goes through and she makes sure she's seen everything that's been nominated. That includes the short films.
Wow.
That includes the short animated films. And the hilarious thing here is clearly the Academy has 0 Fs to give when it comes to the screeners in the animated feature, because they nominated Boss Baby, which is a very, very rotten film on Rotten Tomatoes. I actually saw the film amazingly in theaters for reasons I won't go into. It is such a terrible film and amazingly nominated for an Oscar. Of course, it won't win, but poor Shannon has to watch the Boss Baby now. So shout out to Shannon. We got to get her on the pod sometime. Would love to get her thoughts on Boss Baby. So directing, we talked about Three Billboards, being my likely pick to win, even though I want Lady Bird to win. The director of Three Billboards, Martin McDonagh, not nominated for directing. The nominees are actually Christopher Nolan for Dunkirk, Jordan Peele for Get Out, Greta Gerwig for Lady Bird, Paul Thomas Anderson for Phantom Thread, Guillermo del Toro for Shape of Water. Has Paul Thomas Anderson won an Oscar?
Off the top of my head, I don't know if he has. I don't think that he has.
It would have been There Will Be Blood, and he didn't win for that one.
No, he didn't. So I don't think that he has won an Oscar. Which is crazy if you think about it. I mean,
it's crazy. It was Coen Brothers the year of There Will Be Blood.
Yeah. Exactly. Which, upon further review, let's be honest, what was the better movie?
Well, are you ready to have the conversation? Because I'm still honestly in the No Country for Old Men
I
corner.
think we need to watch it again, and that should be our next
Okay.
episode.
I, I think that like it's interesting for me just because I was on a 2-year mission when these movies came out, so I didn't experience it till a year later, and I watched the two films, and yeah, No Country for Old Men has stuck with me as my more favorite, but also it might have been just more consumable for me at the time. There Will Be Blood is the type of film that I think has probably the staying power. Um, but this isn't like a scenario of like Shakespeare in Love over Saving Private Ryan, right? Where like no one's talking about Shakespeare in Love and everyone's talking about Saving Private Ryan. Like I think No Country for Old Men is still such a technically significant film.
It's great. They're both really great films.
They're really, really
But
good.
yeah, I mean, if Paul Thomas Anderson didn't win that year, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't. Do you think that he's a favorite this year?
No, I don't think he is.
I don't think
In
so
fact, I
either.
think it was a shock that he was nominated. That's the surprise here. It's him instead of Martin McDonagh,
Yeah,
really.
I think you're right. Now, how do we feel about Greta's chances?
Um, you know what's interesting? Uh, I'm feeling better about her chances winning the director Oscar than I am about Lady Bird winning Best Picture.
I would absolutely agree with that. I think that
Because I think we could see a scenario where Greta wins this and Three Billboards gets the Best Picture.
mhm.
Now, alternatively, it could be Guillermo that wins the directing here, and then Three Billboards wins the Best Picture.
I think that, yeah,
Um,
I think he's the wild card. Really, I don't know how they're gonna. It just seems so odd that this movie is getting so much love. I think there's a reason for that, and maybe we're just,
mhm.
obviously I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But
Well,
maybe he's the
yeah, I
wild
mean,
card.
it's Hollywood's deep-seated love for bestiality. I mean, it's
Yeah, that's
fine.
true.
They're a little more public.
Undeniable. I mean, they can't harass women anymore, so they're gonna harass sea
Go to
creatures.
animals. Who's going to stand up for the animals?
Nobody.
Exactly. Nope.
Not PETA.
Nope. PETA doesn't care about the creature in that film.
No, they don't at all. Actually, it's funny. I was driving to work today, and I saw this van with like a huge mural on the side of the painted on the side, and it was like chickens in cages, and then it's just says it's like a PETA ad. So it made me
Oh
not
my
want to eat
gosh.
chicken. I felt really bad because these chickens were stacked on top of each other.
Wow.
So shout out to PETA. You ruined my lunch.
Oh, PETA. Oh, PETA.
So
Um,
and how do we feel about Nolan's chances? By the way,
well, I think Nolan was like he directed one of the best war films
exactly.
look, a genre of which there's not like a lot of room to innovate, right? To be honest, I mean, there's a lot of war movies in the history of cinema, yet he somehow was able to make something I felt totally unique and
Hmm.
fresh and interesting and exciting and technically brilliant, and also like, I mean, I don't know how much I pay to the directing or to the cinematography, but the way that film looks and feels, the suffocating nature of it is there's no denying it's a masterful work. So there's a level of like, oh man, I would love if Christopher Nolan won, I wouldn't be upset. Of course, I want Greta Gerwig. I want Greta Gerwig very, very badly. Now, can I ask a controversial question?
Yeah.
Do do you think it's possible that the Academy would be more likely or more willing to give Greta the award because of the events of the Me Too movement? Are they susceptible to being influenced by that? To be clear, Greta absolutely deserves this award on merit alone, and I
Right.
want her to win this so badly. But do we think the Academy is susceptible to that?
Here's where I'm going to say no, because I think
Okay.
that they want to distance themselves from it because of how Hollywood has been portrayed, from Harvey Weinstein to Kevin Spacey. I think that they don't even want to. I don't even think that they want to touch it. And this is why
Interesting.
I feel like Jordan Peele
Yeah.
might just win it all.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
And he did a great job with Get Out. But I don't know.
It's
I'm really
what an
torn.
interesting. It's such an interesting category because I think really the only one that would. I mean, I would be surprised if it was Christopher
Yeah.
Nolan, but I would be happy. It would shock me most if it was Paul Thomas Anderson, which is ironic because like he's. I mean, maybe the best director in that group.
Yeah.
I mean, Christopher Nolan's on my Mount Rushmore. And once Greta Gerwig finishes her quartet of Sacramento-based films, she'll be on my Mount Rushmore as well. I can tell you that. But yeah, Jordan Peele wouldn't shock me.
No, so when was has a black director ever won Best Director?
No, because no. Well, let's think. Because Steve McQueen for 13 Years of 13 Years a Slave.
Did he
the
win?
year that won Best Picture? He
didn't win Best Director.
And then and was Moonlight even nominated in the Best Director category?
No,
or was he? Damien Chazelle won for La La Land. But was he nominated? I felt like he was snubbed a nomination.
Yeah, I can't remember if he was nominated. He definitely didn't win.
No, yeah.
And I would say we've had a Best Female, or we've had a Best Director that was a woman recently with Catherine Bigelow.
Well, it was Hurt Locker, which recently it's been 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Was that 2008?
That might have been 2008.
Yeah, it's been 10 years. No?
Wow.
Well, let's see. Hurt Locker. Let's see.
I think that's 2010. Now that I think
10.
about it.
Well, no, it came out in 2008.
Oh, wow. Good call.
It may have come out. Maybe the 2009 was the
Oscars.
Oscars.
Yeah. So 2009 was
yeah. So 90. That's still a long time.
It's been a while.
Only 5 ever.
It's been a while.
But only 5 ever have been nominated.
That's amazing. If it's only been 5.
Women have been. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Well, this year we had our first ever female cinematographer nominated.
Yes.
Amazing. Yes.
For which film?
A Mudbound.
Right. Yeah. Which actually is a really beautifully shot film. That's actually really well deserved. Barry Jenkins, by the way, Moonlight, he was nominated.
Okay.
Just didn't win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just want to make sure I get that right. This is interesting. I really, 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 really want Greta to win. I will be bummed if she doesn't. But it would be hard to be upset if Nolan or Peele walk up there. Guillermo's the only one where it's like, I don't know. I'm just not a huge Guillermo del Toro fan, to be honest with you. I'm just not. He makes some visually interesting movies. I've liked some of his movies. He's more miss than hit for me.
Okay.
Are you overall?
I like Guillermo, but I won't go out of my way to watch his movies. Obviously, I haven't even seen The Shape of Water yet. So, true. And I have Movie Pass.
Well,
so.
Lastly, on these screenplay ones, let's run through these and we'll be all done. Adapted screenplay: Call Me by Your Name, The Disaster Artist, Logan. Surprisingly, really. Warranted, merited. I think that's. But I'm surprised that they would do adapted screenplay for a comic book movie. And then Molly's Game, because the Academy loves Aaron Sorkin, and Mudbound. I want The Disaster Artist to win.
It's got
the only one who's nominated for. We talked about Snubs before, the Florida Project being the primary one. James Franco has been nominated for all sorts of awards leading up. He wasn't nominated here. I think it's largely as a result of some of the accusations that have been leveled against him recently. Putting those accusations and whatnot aside, of course, I liked the movie and I liked his performance. I really think the script is actually pretty incredible. You and I both had listened to the whole book, so we're familiar with the source material of which this was adapted from. So I would love for it to win. I don't think it has a chance in, heck that it's better to win.
No, probably not.
It'll be Call Me by Your Name. What do you think?
Man, it's so tough. Sorkin is beloved. I mean, you mentioned it. He is absolutely beloved. I don't know. You saw Molly's Games, right? Or Molly's Game.
Yeah, and I enjoyed the film. It's actually worth watching. If it drops on Netflix or something, it's worth watching. I mean, it's not the most compelling story in the world. Honestly, I have no idea why they made a movie about this Molly, this character. But there are some scenes where the dialogue is just dynamite. I mean, there's these scenes with Jessica Chastain and Idris Elba that are just super fun. It's like fireworks. It's really cool.
Yeah, so I think I have a feeling that James Ivory will win for Call Me by Your Name, but it wouldn't surprise me if they give it to Sorkin, just because he's so beloved.
And lastly, writing original screenplay, we got Emily V. Gordon and Kumail Nanjiani, friends of the pod, who got nominated for The Big Sick. We got Jordan Peele, Get Out, Greta Gerwig, Lady Bird. We've got Guillermo del Toro, Vanessa Taylor for Shape of Water, and Martin McDonagh for 3 Billboards. This is an interesting category Because if Three Billboards runs the table, they could snatch this one and it wouldn't be all that shocking. With that being said, if Lady Bird has any awards in the can, it should be this one.
I don't see how you can give it to a movie other than Lady Bird.
Because, like, look, if we're not going to recognize Greta as in the director or at the Best Picture level, or Laurie Metcalf or Saoirse Ronan, Lady Bird deserves this one. Now, with that being said, Get Out. It would not surprise me whatsoever if Get Out won. It really wouldn't. But I think it's going to be between. Really is going to come down to Lady Bird and Three Billboards, with Get Out as the third, and Kumail a distant last place. And will forever be able to say an Academy Award nominee.
And I gotta say, I wasn't a huge fan of the movie the first time I saw it. I enjoyed it, but since then I've watched it 2 more times, and I really like The Big Sick.
It's a good movie.
It's a good movie. It's a very good movie.
No, it's definitely a good movie. In fact, I will say, speaking of snubs in the supporting actor category, Ray Romano, Holly Hunter in supporting actress.
Both of them.
I'm really legitimately surprised. Neither one. I expected one of those two to get some love, and not the case. But yeah, The Big Six. Just, I mean, I am heartened and grateful that they got a nomination at least in this category.
Yeah, they deserved it. I think for original screenplay.
Yeah, and they worked on it forever. And despite Judd Apatow's best efforts to make it worse, they still were able. No, it's a good. I had Lindsay watch it on our flight to China, though it was heavily edited through China's censors. Yeah, they removed all Pakistani people in the film. It was it felt really bizarre. She's like something's missing. I'm like, well, someone.
They actually blurred them out. Very subtle.
But they actually did go through China's film censorship, so they took out.
They took out the line, "The truth is out there."
That's a great scene.
Yeah, it's very funny.
Well, there we go. There's some Oscar thoughts. Thanks for doing that with me. I know how much you don't care at all whatsoever for the Oscars, so having that conversation, I'm grateful. One thing worth bringing up before we sign off here, there is a new Star Wars film that comes out in about 3 months in May. Okay, we are in February. There's a Star Wars movie that comes out in 3 months. And we have one single piece of promotional material released. And it is a poster that only has words on it that says Solo, a Star Wars story. We have no official images. We have no official video clips. And finally, today, we get news that Disney's going to release the trailer for this movie that is sure to be a train wreck the day after the Super Bowl on Good Morning America. Now, people have been using the excuse of waiting for The Last Jedi to be all done, get out of the, to kind of have its run in theaters before they start rev up the marketing machine for this next film, which was honestly an excuse that I bought into up until that time had passed and Disney still didn't release anything with Solo. And enough time has continued to pass that I thought, oh, they're waiting till the last possible moment that they have to show anything whatsoever, because what they have on their hands is a disaster.
I think all signs point to this being an absolute disaster. Unfortunately for you, as being the huge Star Wars fan that you are, and unfortunately for some of the people involved with this movie.
I like Alden Ehrenreich. I like Childish Gambino. Donald Glover. Look, I've maintained from the beginning that I couldn't be less interested in a Han Solo story. Like, I loved Disney's pitch when they purchased Star Wars about doing these one-off stories, because there's this expansive universe. You can go tell these interesting stories that have nothing to do with the Skywalker family. Like, that is so awesome. And here we are making a Han Solo origin movie. Like, you're pretty close to the Skywalker family.
No
and
kidding.
Also, I don't want to know where Han Solo came from. I love meeting Han for the first time at the Mos Eisley Cantina. Like, why are we doing this? But then we get these interesting directors. That's like, okay, well, interesting actors. Maybe this will be something good. Woody Harrelson, right. Emilia Clarke. Then they fire those directors and bring in the most vanilla, uninteresting director who hasn't made a good movie in a decade or 2 decades maybe. And they refuse to release any promotional materials. This is bad, Aaron.
Yeah, this is going to be really, really bad. And it's funny, nobody wants a Han Solo movie, but everybody wants a young Obi-Wan Kenobi movie. And we don't have that. So
Yeah. Well, we're getting it.
Well,
I mean, we're getting the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie that they already announced.
right,
Uh,
but
but that's not the young.
right, exactly. And so
Didn't we
who?
already? Isn't that the prequels? Isn't that the same?
Well, we all want the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie that's based off the old Xbox game. I don't know if did you ever play that one?
Of course, of course. That's hilarious,
Oh, it was so bad, but also good.
but also good, but also really really
Yeah.
great.
Did you wait? Did
Well,
you buy Battlefront too?
oh yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
And honestly, it's discounted now. I get wanting to stick it to EA and not give them money. The campaign, which has nothing to do with microtransactions or any of that leveling up stuff, the campaign alone is worth the $30 or $40 price tag that I think it's at now. The campaign's excellent and really really fun. But yeah, once you go into multiplayer mode and you start looking at the progression system, it's maddeningly frustrating. I mean, it's just absolutely insane, is what it is. It's really crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, the Han Solo movie is gonna suck.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt about it. So we're entering the January, the dump of films that aren't good, with the exception of Paddington 2
and
uh,
Hostels.
and Hostels apparently, which Nate did say he
Well,
loved.
we got to see. We got to do a
I
Hostels
don't even
pod.
know where that's playing, but what movie are we gonna talk about next? Right, like looking at what's coming out in the next week or two, we're definitely talking about Clint Eastwood's 1517 to Paris, starring three Sacramento hometown heroes who saved a nation of France from the guy on the train with the guns.
I mean, I'll
That's just
watch
people from
it.
Sacramento.
Yeah,
What?
I'll watch it, but I'm gonna be groaning through the entire thing.
No, it's a documentary because it stars the
Oh,
real
that's true.
people. So it's a reenactment documentary.
Yeah.
It's not an actual narrative. Anyway, honestly they're going to be terrible at acting, but I'm going to eat it up. I'm going to love it. So we'll be doing that one, which comes here in the near future. Is there anything else though?
I don't. There's nothing that I've seen that even has me slightly interested.
It might be time for us to start doing our pod topics
Yeah,
based on eras of movies past,
I think
and less about the recent films.
it's very slim pickings at this point. But pretty soon we're gonna ramp up and get. I don't even know what's the first big movie on the 2018 calendar. It's
Yeah, I don't
coming
either.
probably
I
April
mean,
or
there's
something.
going to be some Marvel ones for sure. So, how about this? Monday, I'm going to be in Utah for work, but I'm going to bring my microphone and let's talk the Solo trailer.
Have to, absolutely have to.
Can't wait to break this thing down. Cannot wait to break this thing down.
We're gonna go frame by frame talking about the Han Solo trailer.
Imagine what if they release a teaser where there's actually no footage
Oh
shown.
my!
Just title cards and voices. Wouldn't, I mean, that would be something. But anyway, it's late. Go to bed. Thanks for doing this. I know it's a long pod.
No problem.
Let's reconvene Monday to talk Han Solo
Han Solo,
trailer.
baby.
Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
All right, man. As we say so affectionately, hold on to your butts.